Coverage of Championship Week is brought to you by Gate City Bank, Sanford Health, and Shields.
Well, it started back in January when we returned from Frisco and got everybody together and said, hey, embrace the change. We're going to have a new voice in front of the room and new challenges, new coaches, new coordinators. But the Bison tradition and Bison culture wasn't going to change. And you guys as leaders, seniors or juniors, had to take control of the football team. And had a great spring, had a great fall, and had one hiccup in a regular season, which probably in reality was maybe a good thing, because let our guys relax a little bit and not hear so much. We never talk about the winning streak is in our locker room, but I know they heard it a lot from media and stuff, and it probably got us to relax a little bit and finish the season on a tremendous note. And we're able to have home field advantage and had some really tough games in the playoffs, but our guys know how to win football games, especially tight games, and we were able to do that the first two rounds, and then took care of Sam Houston in the semifinals, and we're ecstatic to be back in Frisco for another shot at it.
Okay, a couple of housekeeping items. Please turn off or put to vibrate your cell phones. When you ask a question, please raise your hand, wait to be recognized, and we'll get a mic to you. Calhoun or Melissa over here will have the mic to you. Also, please identify yourself and your affiliation and to whom you are directing the question. So we're ready for questions. Just raise your hand all at once. Okay. You're in.
Question for Coach Klieman. I'm Jack McCarthy with the Chicago Tribune. Illinois State presents an offensive challenge with their quarterback, Trey Roberson, and the running back, Marshawn Coppers. Can you talk about what they present for you and how you plan to counter that?
Well, obviously they're two tremendous football players, and they've had a great amount of success this year with the accolades that they've received. And we know we can't shut them both down. A lot of people have tried to shut one down, and the other one beats them. And for us, we've got to be able to try to control both of them. You're not going to just stop them. I think the most important thing that we've talked about on the defensive side of things is limit their explosive plays. They're going to get gains of 10 and 12 and 15 here and there because they're really talented players, but we've got to eliminate the 50 and 80-yard gains, which they've had a number of times against other competition.
Okay, let's go right here first.
Adam Iwan's the Vedette ISU student newspaper. I guess this question's for Kyle. How have you guys prepared to stop Coppridge and both the passing attack as well?
Well, I think anytime you try to defend such a talented team, you can't just look at one player. Kind of like what Coach Klieman said, we're going to try and limit them both, and you're not going to shut them down. But it always comes down back to the basics, I think, defensively, just doing our job, trusting your teammates, playing hard, running to the ball. If you do that, I think you'll be pretty successful.
Okay, we had a question back here. In the back.
Beth Wool, KVLY, KXJB out of Fargo, North Dakota. Colten, last year, and Kyle, I guess you guys both had a big game changer, the blocked punt picked up and returned for over 50 yards. I mean, you guys have continuously had games, championship games that came down to a big game changer. Have you guys talked about that and just keeping an eye out for that sort of situation?
Coach Klieman mentioned it, is just knowing how to win football games, and I think anytime you can prevent a big play is huge for your team, along with having an explosive play will give you the opportunity to win football games. And kind of piggybacking off what these both guys have said, if we can eliminate the big plays for Illinois State, we'll be pretty successful tomorrow.
Back over here. Yeah. Craig.
Craig Haley from the Sports Network. Coach, you mentioned how the one loss got your players to feel a little more relaxed. But have you sensed this year, and the players can answer too, that aura of invincibility? Is that still there with your program? I mean, especially having a loss, even if it's a positive. Did you feel any different about this season, the way teams have approached you?
Well, we know we're going to get everybody's best shot, Craig. Every week, everybody's going to get up for the Bison. You can look at their second game of the season. We beat Iowa State in a really good football game, went out to Weber State and really struggled and found ways to make some plays to win. on the road, and that's what our guys. You'll notice our guys never panic. We've been down in a number of football games, and that's I credit the resolve of these guys. They know that they're always going to find a way to have an opportunity to win in the fourth quarter. It doesn't mean we're always going to get it done, but we're going to have that opportunity if they continue to believe and continue to let the game go, let the game come to them. You don't see our guys pressing. Great example of Carson. You don't ever see Carson pressing. Carson lets the game come to him, and he'll make his plays, and we've been able to do that this season.
Joe, why don't you comment?
I think that going back to when you think about, you and I, it was kind of, like Coach said, it's kind of a relaxation because, there's obviously a little pressure. You try not to feel any of that pressure, but I think that if you kind of look back maybe 3 years ago to Youngstown State when we lost in 2011, that was a game that, had we not lost, I think I was actually talking to Carson outside the dorms when we were freshmen about it, and we said that, maybe if we did not lose that game, we might have just kind of had this, arrogance about us and not really be prepared, the way we were. Maybe we not even won that first championship. But I think that, I think that kind of just let everyone relax and kind of get back to, the fundamentals and what Bison football is.
Carson, I want you to comment too.
Yeah, piggybacking off what they all said, you threw out the word invincibility, and I think anytime that comes to mind, it's a terrible word to think for your team. It just leads to destruction, if you ask me. And so I think our mindset every week is to go 1-0. And so, we had the hiccup at UNI, and that's football. Some people think it was a good thing. Some people thought the world was crashing down on us. So be it. We just turned around and started focusing on the next week, and that's kind of our mindset every week.
Okay, back here in the back.
Jeff Kopak with the Forum. Colten, what's it like to see 150 former players at practice today?
Honestly, that's probably one of my favorite parts about coming down here to Frisco. Even just seeing a couple of your friends that you haven't seen in a while, that you even played with last year, that you don't see every week. Playing and being with guys pretty much 360 days out of the year every day, and then not seeing them at all is tough. And then I was able to speak to some of them and just thank them for the foundation they've laid and the tradition that we've been able to follow here at NDSU. And I said to them, there's no way we could have had the success today that we've had without them in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. So it's honestly one of my favorite parts about this whole trip.
Chris, can you say the same thing or comment to the same thing?
Yeah, absolutely. I was overwhelmed in 2011, my first year, when I saw, I don't know how many came down, Jeff, but I don't think as many as 150, but we had a lot of guys down. I thought that was really neat. And then each year it's gotten bigger and bigger. And talking to Chad Stark, a former Bison great, at the end, he said, this is so neat for all their guys because they have a chance as former players to get together and reminisce with their teammates or people that played right before them or right after them that they don't get a chance to see throughout the year. And so I don't know of any other school that can be that does that, Jeff. I really don't. And that's some of the comments that we received out there is, tell me any school that would have that many guys come back, ranging from the early 60s when Mudra started this whole thing all the way up to last year's group in 2013. It's a pretty unique and pretty remarkable thing.
Right up here.
Adam Iwan's the Vedette. This question's for the coach and any of the players that want to answer. Can you just kind of comment about how strong your fan base is?
We're biased, but we think we have the best fans in all of college football. I think you're going to see, again tomorrow, from what I understand, 75, 80% Bison fans, and they're our 12th man. Now, granted, it isn't warm here, but you should see it up in Fargo right now. You get a chance to travel south, 34 degrees. This is beautiful down here for our fans, and so. But they love their Bison. And it doesn't matter if we're traveling to a conference away game or having 19,000 in the Fargo Dome screaming for us. They are fanatics, and we wouldn't be where we're at without them. We can assure you that.
Yeah, I think they are one of the best fan bases in the country, and to be honest, it's one of the reasons I chose to come to North Dakota State. I came to Fargo and I saw how passionate everyone in the community was for the football team, how supportive they were, and that was something that I wanted. And if it wasn't for them, being in the dome, creating that home field advantage for us throughout the playoffs. We always talk about Frisco, running through the Fargo Dome when we got that home field advantage, and it just wouldn't be the same without those fans. And you get on social media and you just see all the things they're doing coming down here to Frisco. It's just awesome and really helps us out.
Okay, over here.
Steve Hallstrom, WZFG Radio. Coach Klieman, anytime you follow a coach that's been to this game 3 years and won it 3 years, it's got to create some expectations. Can you talk a little bit about how you've managed that pressure this year?
Well, one, I thought we had a lot of guys coming back. I thought we had an opportunity, if our younger guys developed, to have a chance to come back here, because I believed in our seniors. I believed in our upperclassmen like Joe and Carson, that it was their time. And I don't know, maybe it's the defensive coach in me. I don't mind the high expectations. I look forward to the challenge. And make no mistake, I think this is the best head job in all of FCS football. And when Gene Taylor presented me with the opportunity, I knew it was a gold mine and something that I wanted to do. And I don't know if I'm not going to beat Craig Bull. That's bottom line. Craig did some unbelievable things here, and I've got a great deal of respect for him. But I think we've all kind of moved on, and this is about this team and about this year.
Up here up front.
Colten Poole, NDSU Spectrum. Joe, can you talk a little bit about Illinois State's front seven and maybe the problems that they pose?
I think they're a very diverse group. They, they have a DN that's about 220 pounds, and they're able to, put him up as a linebacker a lot, and they can do pretty much every front. But I think that going through the Missouri Valley, you kind of get ready, you kind of get prepared for anything, because there are so many, 3-4-4-3 defenses, and they all run their own way. And I think that after watching all this film, it's nothing we haven't faced before, but it's also they bring their own, athleticism and challenge that we are going to have to deal with.
Okay, Craig's got one.
Craig Haley from the Sports Network. For the players, has the comfort level grown with each year that you've come to Frisco?
Going back to the first year, I think it was just, everybody was kind of in awe of the atmosphere and just it being in a different arena or field, I suppose. And then each year I think is different for every player. But I think most of us have been here before, but it's still going to be a little bit different, I think, for the younger guys that haven't been here. But I think as seniors and older players, we've done a good job of showing guys how to prepare for games like this, and coaches have put a great plan together for that reason on how to prepare for this game and how to be comfortable.
Thanks, Colten. Kyle, would you comment?
Yeah, I mean, I think every single year you're still equally as excited to get back. We know that it's a long road to get here, and it's never been easy. So you're always excited to get back to Frisco. I think the comfort level would come with kind of the before stuff, kind of like Colten mentioned, but just you're not being in awe of all these different activities and stuff like that. And then once you actually get to the game, I think it'll just be easier for us to relax and treat it as another game.
Carson?
Yeah, I mean, the comfort level, without a doubt, I would think has gone up every year. With a lot of the older guys, for sure. I mean, every year there's going to be a young crew that's going to come in, and kind of like these guys all already mentioned, a little off factor. But they see us as older guys and how we prepare, and I mean, I could just see in a lot of the older guys' eyes. I mean, just a focus about them. Even when we go through and go to the fun events and all those things, you can just tell everyone's focused and ready to go, and I think that comes with the fact that we've been here 3 years in the past already.
Okay, back here in the back.
Emory Hunt, football game plan. Coach, I wanted to ask, you guys have done a great job all season long taking the one thing a team does well. Let's say Montana, you took away Wegman. You used to look at Sam Houston State, you took away their passing game. In this game with an offense like Illinois State where they're balanced, is it mostly about executing and technique and less about scheme?
Well, I don't think there's any secrets on what we're going to do as well as what they're going to do. bottom line for us, we have to be able to stop the run or control the run, and we need to be able to run the football. I mean, those are two staples for us that you can look at our success over the years. When we've been able to control people's running game and ourselves be able to run the football, time of possession changes and all those things come into our favor. And if we can do those things, we'll have a great opportunity to have success. If we don't, if we can't run the football and we have a tough time slowing those guys down, it'll be a long day for us.
Okay, you have a question up here.
Having won the last 3 FCS championships, would you guys consider yourself a dynasty?
Tradition in North Dakota State that you would like to look at these last 3 wins as something that is almost like a dynasty. But I think that overall it just speaks to our tradition at North Dakota State and our ability to consistently over time just get to these national championships and just kind of the atmosphere that we bring as Bison Nation.
I don't know. We're just here to win this one. I think Coach mentioned earlier. After Western, we're going to take one game at a time, one play at a time, and that's stuff for you guys to talk about in the media. So we'll just go and play a football game.
Kyle?
Yeah, I'd like to echo Colten's comments. I think our coaches did a good job of talking about winning just this national championship for this team, and then after the fact, especially as seniors, when we're done with everything, then we can maybe look back and talk about what we accomplished. But right now, we're just going to focus on one at a time.
Carson.
Yeah, like Colten pretty much said, I mean, the word dynasty, I mean, that's for you guys to speculate and call it what you want. I mean, like Joe said, we have a ton of tradition here. And, that's really the root of it all. And so I think we have a great program, and, everyone else does. And, we see coaching changes, athletic director changes, all of that. But, the root of the Bison's really been here the whole time. And, that's what starts with our tradition. And I think that's what we are.
Okay, right over here.
Kara Capuano with ESPN. I'd like to ask this question first to Kyle and then also to Joe. But Colten, you can weigh in, and Carson, you can too. But just specifically, being that you just want to win this one championship, how would you describe what differentiates this team this year?
Well, there's always the obvious things in different head coach, and we have different athletic director. We lost 26 seniors, different faces all over the place. But I guess so you have different faces, but in the culture and how we play, it hasn't changed. To be honest, it almost is the exact same as the last 3 years. You just have different people leading the team, different people running the plays and stuff like that. But I think that's kind of why we've sustained the successes. We don't try to change a lot.
Yeah, definitely. There's change, but every year there's change. Every year you're going to lose anywhere from 10 to 20 seniors, and it's just kind of just keep on rolling. Just the fact that we lost a lot of coaches, but it's really been so much, almost more similar than it has been different easily. And I think that you couldn't even tell, like, just in daily practice, our routine, our work ethic, keeping Coach Kramer was a big deal for us, our weightlifting coach, because right after the national championship, you just go to Coach Kramer and we're with him for 4 straight months, and that has just gave us so much more consistency throughout each year that it really wasn't much of a difference for me, at least.
Carson, would you comment?
Yeah, sound like a broken record with these guys, what they said, but players are going to change, coaches are going to change, but we pretty much stayed the same with our leadership's been tremendous this year. One thing that's different, I would say, would be all the naysayers at the beginning of the year. New coach, new quarterback, 4 new offensive linemen. Just all the stuff that we went through, losing all the seniors. I think there's a lot of doubters and naysayers. So that's I would think that started it a little differently. But as the season progressed, there wasn't much difference in my opinion.
Colten, wrap it up.
I don't have much to add on that. These guys hit it on the head.
Okay.
Westwood won. This is mainly for Joe and Kyle. Just curious how your guys' bodies feel. I mean, you guys have been pretty much on an NFL schedule the last 4 years with how many games you've played. There's no college kids that play as many games as you guys have.
Joe, start.
I feel obviously going through the playoffs and just a long season, I think that what big deal was getting the bye week and Thanksgiving. That was, a really big help because just, going through Missouri Valley is such a physical conference that, you do kind of start to get a little beat down. But I think that, we've been lucky with, obviously the Thanksgiving break and our weightlifting staff and coaches do a great job of resting us and knowing when to push us physically and when to kind of, get back on the gas pedal and just kind of give us time to reboot. But I think that, I feel fine now. I feel, just as I would, maybe August 31st.
Kyle?
Yeah, I think our staff has done a great job getting us ready, and that's been a big reason why we have been successful, even in the off season after the last championships, just how Coach Kramer goes about getting us ready to go. I'm not going to sit here and say that, after 5 years of playing football at NDSU and the way we play that my body feels, great, quote unquote. But I will say that it's definitely ready for one more game in the national championship game, and I think I could say that for all the seniors and all the guys on this team.
Okay, we'll have time for a couple of more questions. We got back here in the back, up on top.
Thanks. Dom Izzo, WDAY. Colten and Kyle, are you guys as excited to determine the actual Missouri Valley champion tomorrow as on top of the FCS champion, knowing how much you guys respect the league?
Yeah, I think, the Valley was rewarded this year in the playoffs for having 5 teams in, and I think we've known that for the last 3 years that Missouri Valley is one of the best conferences in FCS. And to play a conference opponent is a great thing for the conference, first of all, and I think it'll be a great challenge for both teams because of the play in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. It's tough football, grinded out with some great players, great coaches, so I think it'll be a fun one tomorrow.
Kyle?
Yeah, obviously a lot of respect for the Valley, and I thought we finally, really got the respect this year in the playoffs with the 5 teams, and then, it was no surprise to me at all that Illinois State ended up, making it through. I kind of figured a Valley team would, and so I think, yeah, we're just excited to get out there and play. Whether Valley Championship, National Championship, well, we're just excited to go out there and play one last time together.
Mike McCann, KVRR Fox in Fargo. Carson, Kyle kind of just answered it there, but when you guys do all of this, when you have all the events and all the media, how badly do you just want to get out there and play?
I was just talking to one of the coaches today, and doing all this stuff, it's so awesome, and it's rewarding, and I think we've earned the right to have a little fun like this. But I was just telling Coach, man, I wish we kind of just flew down here and woke up the next day and played. Quite frankly, preparing for a team for 3 weeks, it gets old and redundant, and we're more than ready to go. So that's my answer for that.